Breadcrumbs are a visual indication of where in the site hierarchy a user currently is. And to give you an example, I'm going to drill into the tours page here on our Explore California website. And then on this page, I'm going to scroll down and choose Learn More next to Backpack Cal. And you'll notice at the top of this section, we have the breadcrumbs, which indicate that we're on the Backpack Cal page, which is part of the All Tours category. Now, breadcrumbs are typically found on e-commerce sites, and that's because e-commerce sites have a very deep site structure. So you might be looking at something that's 2 or 3 categories deep and want to know where you're at on the site. But that doesn't mean there isn't value for smaller local businesses to implement these breadcrumbs. Not only do breadcrumbs add value to your users, but they do 2 things for your SEO. One, you're going to help provide Google with yet another understanding of how you've organized your site. And that's going to give you another chance to win some rank for your topic. But you also can end up with a more robust search result. And a better search result draws attention even if you're further down the listing, and that gives you a higher click-through rate. So to show you what I mean, I'm going to go over to Google, and I'm going to do a search for Santa Barbara adventure reviews. And you'll notice here in the second and third listings that these breadcrumbs are listed right under the title. Here I've got TripAdvisor, ... things to do in Santa Barbara. So I can see when I click on this page that I'm going to be learning about things to do in Santa Barbara. And here on the Yelp listing, I can see that I'm in the category tours, which is part of hotels and travel. As a user, that's a really great visual indication. And this is where breadcrumbs can be useful if you operate multiple locations. Here in a search, a user might see the location's breadcrumb under your title and understand that you have more than one location. Now, the best way to implement breadcrumbs is by using structured data to indicate to Google that what you have is indeed a breadcrumb. And to do that, I really recommend you take a look at the documentation provided by Google. I'm going to go directly to the link, but you can find this simply by doing a Google search for rich snippets breadcrumbs. Here, they're going to re-explain a little bit about breadcrumbs. What you want to do is scroll down to where you can start seeing some examples. Now, first things first. You can implement breadcrumbs just by doing links that are separated with this little arrow icon. And Google will do its best to understand that what you have here is breadcrumbs. But I really recommend that you take it a step further and implement what's called microdata. And you'll find at the bottom of this documentation a little plus sign next to microdata. And here you can see the sample HTML code. It's the same code as above, but it's been marked up with microdata. And if you remember our schema.org discussion, this is very similar. So where we went and built in our location information using schema, here we're trying to implement our breadcrumbs using data vocabulary. And it's very similar. We start out with a line that indicates to Google, this is a breadcrumb. And the first link in the breadcrumb is listed here. And we have a special term, item prop equals URL. So we're saying to Google, hey, this URL is a breadcrumb. And the title of the URL, shown here with item prop equals title, is dresses. And then we have our divider, the arrow. And then we move on to continue that for as far as our breadcrumbs go. Breadcrumbs are a worthwhile time investment if they make sense for your website. If you have a very flat site structure, breadcrumbs aren't going to make a lot of sense. But if you have sites that go 3 or 4 levels deep, I really recommend setting them up.